let's talk about let's talk about the Lakers. Big story because LeBron's been out with an ankle injury. He's been out the last couple of games. He's out tonight versus the Thunder. At the same time, Anthony Davis also going to be out tonight against the Thunder. What this opens up is what we knew all along. Russell Westbrook looked like he was a shell. He looked like he was not going to fit in this team. The second LeBron hits the bench, all of a sudden, trip dub Russ is back. 3-dub Russ is back. Like, is this what's going to have to happen on the squad? Is Russell Westbrook going to have to be time shared away from LeBron to be himself?
I think it's look, if Frank Vogel wants to have this team win 50 plus games this year, the way you do it is you stagger Westbrook's minutes. I think you cannot have Westbrook, AD, and LeBron on the floor more than 60% of their time, or maybe even 50% of their time. Westbrook needs to be the guy that's helping lead that second unit, because Westbrook's still Hall of Famer, an incredible player, but he is a ball dominant guard. And when Russell Westbrook is running a pick and roll, you cannot stop Russell Westbrook. When Westbrook and AD are running the pick and roll in particular, you can't guard it. Westbrook at 30, whatever years old he is now, is still electric, still fast, still has an incredible first step, and can jump with some of the best players in the league. AD, incredibly versatile. The man, Stretch Armstrong, he can jump out of the gym as well. So those two coming off of a screen, there's insane combinations you have to essentially play out for. I think this is a thing where the Lakers, if they're smart, they hold LeBron out a couple of extra games. One, he's LeBron. He's 36, turning 37 years old. He needs a little bit of extra time to recoup. Give him all that time and let Westbrook get to a spot where he feels good. But I think realistically, Westbrook needs to be able to play with LeBron and AD. These numbers are inflated right now. He needs to be able to do something like this with LeBron and AD. But this is what LeBron has needed and wanted. A guy that can come in, put up 30 any given night if LeBron has an off night or needs them to dominate scoring. They did not have that last year, and that hurt them. It's why the Suns took them out in the playoffs.
Yeah. I will say this. The Warriors, I watched the Warriors game with the Lakers, and I watched it back a second time because they did a very, very good job of what teams should do when Russ is on the floor with LeBron. They get that he got into the screen and roll game with AD and a couple other players too. Got with DeAndre Jordan, and they let him stay back. They just didn't attack him. They said, "You're going to shoot the three. Go shoot the three." And Westbrook did that. Westbrook was shooting long twos off of picks. Anytime he was on the floor, whoever was defending him, I think Jordan Poole was on him at some point. They just backed off him. They let him. Jordan Poole was the help defender, no matter where it was coming from, and Westbrook was just corner sitting. And the Lakers aren't going to pass to him. The problem with Russ on the floor with LeBron is that LeBron requires shooters on the floor with him. That's what makes LeBron good. Russ requires shooters on the floor with him. That's what makes Russ good. Because Russ can drive and dish. You have to worry about the other three players. When LeBron and Russ are on the floor, they don't have the shooters on the floor to allow Russ to play a pick and roll game or LeBron to play his high elbow game. Neither one of them can play their game because they're reliant on the other one to be a shooter. LeBron can shoot a three. Sure, Russ can shoot a three, but they're not reliable three-point shooters. That's why and the Warriors absolutely exposed this. They locked down on AD. They locked down on anything in the paint. There were 4 people in the paint almost exclusively all night while Russ and LeBron were on. And I think that's the blueprint. And I think you're right. I think it would be better if they didn't start Russ, they bring Russ in about the 8-minute mark while LeBron's getting a little bit of his rest. And I think you're right with LeBron. They've got Oklahoma City tonight, Cleveland Friday, and then Houston twice, Sunday and Tuesday. Let the dude heal. Just give him the time.
Yep, 100% agree. And I think Westbrook will be a guy. He's gonna have a couple of games where he can hit those threes, but LeBron has been a very good 3-point shooter in some clutch situations for them this year, and I think he will continue to be. It's just they have to get LeBron used to playing a little bit off ball when Russ is in the game, letting Russ understand that he needs to attack the hoop and not settle for those long contested DeMar DeRozan style 2-point shots that could be threes if he took a half a step back. And they'll be in a better situation. But this Lakers team, I think, will be fine. Just like any team that has massive movement from a player standpoint, give them time, give them 20 to 25 games, then judge them fully from there.
Can you imagine telling LeBron that he's now not the ball heavy guy on the team? It's going to be Russ.
I think regular season LeBron is going to be perfully fine with that. Postseason LeBron is different.
I think LeBron fully understands the time he needs to be healthy come postseason. Yep. Real quick, let's do some quick hits real quick. Ja Morant, year 3 looks unbelievable. He is leading that Grizzly team something fierce. Talk to me about John Morant in year 3.
I love John Morant. He's averaging close to, or he's north of 30 points per game last time that I actually
35,
looked. Okay.
35 right now.
Yeah. And he averaged 19, 20 last year, if I remember correctly. So,
Yep. And he's also got 8 assists. Like, he's not just ball heavy. He's dishing too.
yeah. And point out, Ja's also shooting close to, if not 45% from three this year, which is massive. I think the biggest thing coming out from John Morant and Zion when they were coming out of college, respectively, was which one will be able to develop a 3-point shot first. And that's going to be the trajectory of their career going exponentially higher. Right now, we're seeing Zion in Mountain Dew commercials, and we're seeing Ja hitting 3-point shots and dominating the league. So if Ja Morant continues to hold a 40+% 3-point shot, the NBA is in massive trouble very soon.
For what your point is, New Orleans 1-3 right now, losses to Philly, Chicago, which understandable, but they lost to the Timberwolves before beating the Timberwolves in the second of 2 games in Minnesota. Let's talk about Chicago. Chicago is undefeated early in the season. Is this a year that Chicago makes that leap into the top 4 in the East? Is this the mesh that they need, or are you worried about anything on that team right now?
Yeah, I love what Chicago did. I think their offseason was one of the best off seasons in the NBA. Give their front office props for the first time in probably a decade. But I don't love the Bulls. Let's look at the teams they played so far. They played the Detroit Pistons, which is nothing but young players at this point. They played the Toronto Raptors, which we have agreed they aren't necessarily a great team anymore. They're a
Right.
team trying to find their identity.
Wizards beat them too.
They played the Pistons again. And then they played the Pelicans, who are, again, a bit of a mess right now without their best player in Zion Williamson. Those 4 games, I give them props. If you're playing bad or subpar teams, you should absolutely beat them. And they have necessarily done that, which is great. But I'm really interested in there's a stretch they have coming up. November 12th is when I think it'll start. Actually, no, November 10th. No, November 8th. Sorry. November 8th, they're going to play the Nets. Then they play the Mavericks, the Warriors, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Trailblazers, and the Nuggets. That is going to be a really good stretch to figure out between the 8th and the 19th how good this Bulls team is. If they can go and win the majority of those games, then I'm necessarily a believer. But if they struggle, then they are who we thought they were, a team that got better, but isn't necessarily a top 4 seed on their conference.
I hate the Bulls' depth. I absolutely hate their starting 5. Maybe their top 6. I like their top 6. It's Ball, DeRozan, Levine, Vucevic, Patrick Williams, and Alex Caruso. Caruso being the 6th man. After that, they see a significant minutes drop off. Javonte Green's at 15 minutes. Troy Brown's at 12 minutes. Elise Johnson's 11. Dude, this team cannot keep up those minutes, and that is a normal night for them. I know they're young. DeRozan's not like I don't think DeRozan's gonna be able to keep that up either because he's aging as well. I worry. They're 1 injury away from being sub 500.
Yep.
And like I said, that's not me trying to hate. I love the moves they did, but they knew when they were doing those moves that they were going to sacrifice depth to get those moves done. Last but not least, definitely not least, Golden State. What? Golden State has decided this is their year. Kerr just said, Curry, go do your thing. And Curry's doing it. Curry looks 5 years younger. Curry looks like he's ready to ball all year. And again, early in the year, so injuries piling up. They're going to get Clay back at some point this year. They might get Wiseman back at some point this year. But as it stands right now, man, they look fantastic. And you want to talk about watchability? Because watchability is a huge thing in NBA. Dude, watchability, man, they are running teams right now.
Yeah, I don't like making knee-jerk reactions or making decisions off of a handful of games.
Now, welcome to me.
I'm pulling a Mills here. My MVP is going to be Steph Curry. Steph Curry wins the MVP this year. What he is doing, the enthusiasm he's having, how he's lifting up this team, and how that team is gelling. Look at all the stuff they're doing off the court with the Clay 77 jersey, which was hilarious, by the way. The Warriors feel like the Warriors of old. The Warriors pre-Kevin Durant is sort of what they feel at this point, because Kevin Durant, they were an unbelievably unmatched team. I think Steph Curry really hits back to what he was doing previously. They just need Draymond to be, a pillar for that defense. Doesn't have to be the guy, but if they get Wiseman back to help out, I think they're going to be in a good spot. They still make a trade or two, but this Warriors team, they're going to have an MVP, and it's going to be Steph Curry.
So Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga both doing on-court activities right now.
It's big.
Like that's gonna be huge because if you want to talk about a weakness of the Warriors right now, it's their inside. Draymond's looking better. Like Draymond's looking like he's averaging 10, 7, and 7 right now. That's old Draymond. Like
Yep, that's what they
don't get me
need.
wrong. Yeah, they need old Draymond, but Kevin Looney is not going to be the guy in the middle long term. So they're going to need Wiseman back big time. I can't wait to see this team. Can you imagine this team running Draymond at the 5? When Clay comes back, they're going to run Steph, Jordan Poole, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green at the 5. And they're going to be able to bring Iguodala in, who, again, limited minutes, but I can't wait to see not only Wiggins running a little bit more with this team. He's already averaging 17 and 5, which is great for Wiggins in this role. Jordan Poole is averaging 15 points in the
Yep.
first week. Clay's going to make this team better, and I do believe that they've got a good. I love Steve Kerr's coaching. I think they've got a role for Jonathan Kuminga on this team this year.
100%.
And I can't wait to see what they're going to do. He's a long defender who can play. He's exactly what Kerr needs on this squad. So I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait to see the Warriors, man.